right, here we are for day 2 of our power profile testing. This is our 20-minute test. Yesterday, I managed to set personal bests for all 3. I did the 1 minute, 5 minute, and 15-second power test yesterday, and personal best in all 3 of those. So can't ask for any better than that. That's what you're aiming for when you're training and testing. So this one's going to round things off. They're 20 minutes. Now I'm going to aim for my best 20 minutes. This one, I don't know if it'll be I don't think it's going to be my best 20 minutes ever, but I'm hoping it'll be enough to raise my FTP in my PDC, which is sitting at 316 right now. And I've been kind of watching that slowly decline over the last 2 months. I've gained a lot of strength and a lot of ability in other areas, but my FTP has kind of suffered. But I have a sneaking suspicion it's a little higher right now than 316. So that's what I'm going to set out to prove today. Now we're going to get a good warm up in here. Do my higher cadence that I like to do for a minute. It really helps get things loosened up. Now let's let that heart rate come back down. a good thorough warm-up is really critical to getting your best out of any of these tests. You can't go in cold and expect to perform at your best. And that's what we're trying for today. It's got to be hard. Now, just like yesterday's test, what you want at the end of this 20 minutes is to be at failure. And it's a hard thing to do, to push yourself that hard. Especially with nobody over your shoulder shouting instructions at you. If there's somebody else in the room, it's a little easier to dig a little deeper, but you know, and it's you in the pain cave, it can be tough. It can be tough to put yourself in that place, but give it your best. All right, so here's our classic 3x30 warm-up. Oop, a little ambitious there. No, not ambitious enough there. We'll find it. We'll find it. Just keep honing in. It's in there somewhere. There we go. Sometimes that happens. You just got to keep honing in. You know, you go a little over, you go a little under. Just don't worry about it too much. All right, here we go. We can do it again. Better this time. Nice and smooth. There we go. All right, one more. Good 30 seconds. Oh, I'll skip there. I'll give our heart rate a couple of minutes to come back down. And we're going to do a little sweet spot. That 3x30 combined with this sweet spot just makes sure all our major systems are firing and functioning. And then you'll see, after that 3 minutes of sweet spot, I don't go to a full cool down. So I want to lower the heart rate some before we start our main set. But I don't want to start that interval totally cold. So I kind of warm into it a little bit from zone 2. And 350 is ambitious. I don't think I'm going to hold 350, but what I wanted to do when I set this up was I wanted to set up zones just like what I did yesterday. That I set it up so that if I keep the numbers in the black, I'll set a new personal best. Or I'll set a new, I'll push that PDC up a little bit. So as long as I keep it in the black in that main set, we'll be golden. So I can fail below that 350 and still call this a success. I got a number in my head that I'm hoping for, but I don't know if I want to say it out loud yet. Alright, so we're going to go out here without going too crazy, just a little sweet spot. Make sure our legs are clearing that lactic acid. Spinning nice and smooth. Just let your heart rate drift up a little bit. We've got the COVID delayed Tour de France happening right now, and it's really been an inspiration watching some of these guys on these solo breakaways. And that's where you want to find your motivation for this one. Just think of it as a solo breakaway. Peloton's chasing you down. And you're just trying to maintain or increase your gap. All right. That is our warm-up. As loose as we're gonna get. the best we're gonna feel over the next half hour. So the key to this, the key to being successful, is to not go out too hard too fast. And of course, a big advantage there is having done this a few times. The more you test, the better you get at it, the better your data becomes. I'm just gonna get into my big ring here and find this nice comfortable spot. So if you haven't done this before, don't worry about it too much. Even if it doesn't go perfectly, you'll still come away with good usable numbers. But the more you do it, the more precise it gets. And hopefully I can be a good example of that today. Time will tell, 90 seconds. I generally break this up into 4 or 5 minute segments in my brain. So you want to start strong, be able to maintain through the middle, and then hopefully, if I've done it right, push myself to the edge and then ride a little over the edge for the last 5 minutes. That's the goal, that's the plan. And you get to watch and see if I can execute. Alright, so I'm definitely not aiming for 350 right out of the gate here. So my FTP is 316 right now. That's a little ambitious. So we'll see where I've got the black numbers over this first 5 minutes, and we'll see if we can maintain that. But 316 and over is what I'm aiming for at the minimum. All right, 10 seconds, and we get started. Here we go. If your power's jumping around like that to begin with, don't worry about it. As your legs fatigue a bit, it's going to be easier to smooth that out. And fatigue they will. If they're not, you're not going hard enough. Remember, we're not saving anything for tomorrow. We're not even saving anything for another interval. This is it. All the work we're doing today. that's a good lap. This one should be faster. $25 done. Here's something that all time trialists know. You can't beat your FTP. So I'm watching my heart rate. I know where my threshold is. And so I'm just pushing to that. Again, so we're doing this a few times makes a huge difference. And no, that's not my legs you're hearing. That's my baby boy. Remember, we're not saving anything for tomorrow. This is it. There we go, we're over halfway. Don't give up, don't let up. Maintain. Power down. Don't forget to breathe. Very important. All right, 5 to go. 3/4 of the way. It's almost over already, can you believe it? Just 2 to go. Hang in there. Hang in there. Motor down. "90 seconds. One minute. Start looking for that arch. Here it is. Motor, motor, motor. Yeah, buddy. Huh. No best lap on that one. Oh, maybe on the first lap, I might have been fastest through that sprint segment. And I definitely didn't push across that on this one. All right. Well, I like my effort on that one. There's a lot of orange in that heat map, especially in the last 5 minutes. So now, we're going to spend a good amount of time cooling our heart rate down, spinning the legs out. As if you did that right, you left it all on the table. You should not be able to get up and accelerate right now. If you can, at 20 minutes was not hard enough. That's got to be 2 failure as you cross that line. And it's tough to pace that out your first couple of times doing this. So, if you do feel like you got a little left in the tank, that's all right, but make note of that. Make note of that. Didn't go hard enough this time. Or probably didn't go hard enough this time. Your numbers will still be okay. They're still going to be usable, especially, again, if this is the first few times you've done this. The more you do it, the more precise you get, the more precise you're going to need to be. To make good, consistent gains. When you're new to a sport, or even if you're if you've been riding a bike for a long time, if you're new to power test or power training, and new to testing, new to eye levels, you'll make a lot of gains really quickly. Now, the more you train, the more fit you get. The trickier it becomes to keep those gains going. But it all comes down to testing, knowing where those limits are, knowing where to set those zones. Once you got that down, it's like having a shortcut to getting fast. And so that's what I'm going to do after this ride. Is I'm going to see what all the numbers say when I plug in yesterday's test results with today's, and see what my new eye levels are, and see where I'm strong, see where I'm weak, and set up my blocks of work for the next 8 weeks. And one area that I know I need to spend a little bit of time is VO2 max. A little low there. I have a feeling this is going to bump my FTP up a little bit, hopefully my time to exhaustion. You know, that's the other thing. Not only is this a great test, it's a great workout. You know, this will give you a little bit of a boost as well. And that's worth mentioning as well. I think it's worth spending a little time talking about the fact that, you know, you do these test results, or you do these tests and you get the results. It's not static. It is a snapshot of where you are today. Even tomorrow, your results will be just a little different. You know, so don't think of it as something you can do once, set your zones, and that's it forever. Like, this is something you got to be doing. You know, if you're really committed to getting faster, every 8 weeks. You know, some people do it every 4 weeks. There are ways, if you're racing a lot or putting in a lot of hard efforts, there are ways to get that data without having to do the structured tests like this. Yeah, once every 4 weeks or whatever is perfectly. I mean, that's, some people might say that's more than you need, but I'd say more is better than not enough. Some people like to set them, and man, they'll set their zones once for a year. Eesh. Tough to get good data. You know, your fitness is constantly changing. You don't need to change your zones up as you gain fitness. You got to bring them back down as you lose fitness, and you should be losing fitness in a controlled manner every year. Just build it up, let it come back down a little bit, and then ramp it back up again. You know, don't just sit on the couch eating potato chips. I mean, you can, but you're gonna have to spend a little more time building up again. And the fitness always seems to come down a little easier than it goes up. Well, I like where my heart rate's recovering. You know, that 10-minute cool down, definitely worth it after a ride like that. All right, and after this cool down, we're going to get up and we're going to do some anaerobic capacity. Just kidding, I'm going to go take a shower and lay down. Sit with my legs up the wall for a little while. That's a tough 2 days. It's not a lot of time on the bike, but man, if you're doing it right, it's intense. I'm super excited. So every time I do testing, and this is where, you know, like as a professional coach is, you know, I guess I'm in the right line of work. Is, man, do I love looking at charts. And so I just love getting off the bike and immediately open up the charts and take a look at how things changed and how this workout had an effect on the rest of the big picture. So Good line of work for a chart nerd. So, well, let's have a peek here. Let's see what Zwift has to say. Well, that is how you draw it up. If you look at that, you look at the way my heart rate ramps up there, that is exactly the way you want to see it. All right. Bear with me just a moment here. So Zwift's power tools are pretty good considering. So I don't have this set up yet where I can pull my analytics up yet, but we're still working on that. But so we'll just use this where we out on the screen. So, because what I would like to do, typically what I would do is I would select this whole segment. I don't think Zwift lets me do that. No. Just all I want to know. I don't care about any of this stuff. I don't care about any of this stuff. The only thing I care about is that 20-minute segment. And I actually have that set up to do, that interval is actually 20 minutes and 5 seconds, which gives me that 5 seconds to ramp up. So what I will do actually is cut that first 5 seconds off and just take that 20 minutes. But that line right here is pretty much textbook. That's exactly how you want it, and that's about the ratio you want to see it. My max heart rate is like 204. I haven't seen 204 in a little while. We'll call it 202. You know, so that's getting up there. You know, looks like I'm peaking out at 192. And this says my 20-minute power. See if I can get right on 20 minutes. Yeah. Well, 3:30. So, that's about what I was aiming for. Which is easy to say now because I didn't say it at the beginning. I was actually aiming for 225 for that. My MFTP has been set at 316. It's been kind of drifting down over the last few weeks. It was 321, then 319, then 318, and then 316. So I think that's gonna push this up. I think Zwift is gonna give me one of those automatic. Let's see if it does when I exit out of here. I think it's gonna give me one of those automatic FTP increases. So I'll kill this file here and see. No? Come on, Zwift! Here, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pop this. I'm gonna